Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We got Benjamin on the line too. Is Benji, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know why my video is not working. Yeah, I finally made it.
Well, it's okay, sometimes
Right.
to err is human, but sometimes I'm forgetful, really forgetful. I'm just old, I think I'm got onset dementia. But let me see if I can unmute your audio or video. Or you should be.
I think it's me. I think it's somewhere in my settings. But actually, I was just going to mainly listen in today because I still have a few things going on over here at the realty company. And I'm literally just cleaning out an old art office and just throwing stuff in the dumpster. So it's kind of a mindless task. So I'm just going to listen and what.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. You can use your headphones or whatever,
Yeah,
if
that's what I was
ask a question, you can chime in,
Okay, perfect.
We don't need to see your beautiful face, but it would be nice, but that's all right.
Yeah, and then no, I will be. I'm gonna start coming definitely more regularly. But I just wanted to say that who is the other guy that's in the group all the time? This chat?
This is Mike. Mike is on the video right now.
Hey Benjamin, How you doing?
Hey Mike, how you doing? I met you before. Hey, I was watching your guys' a different video that you guys recorded a while back, and I heard that you say that you're a Penn Hills teacher.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to. I actually graduated from Penn Hills. I live right in the buildings, over by the. I literally live right in Penn Hills. So
cool.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that. Maybe Shik could give you my number, and yeah, I mean, I'm just always around. But okay, just wanted to put that out there.
Oh,
all right. Thanks for tuning in, Benjamin.
Oh, absolutely.
Penn Hills is right next to the Venkateshwar Temple.
Yep, I go there all the time.
You grew up there, right?
Yes, I did.
Cool. Okay, I'm going to share the screen now. If I can find it. There it is. It's always hit and miss. Okay, we're at text 14.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, text 14. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha durdhavrata namasyantascha mam bhaktya nicha yukta upasate. Synonyms: satatam, always; kirtayanta, chanting; mam, me; yatanta, cha, fully endeavoring, also; durdhavrata, with determination; namasyanta cha, offering obeisances; mam, unto me; bhaktya, in devotion; nitya yukta, perpetually engaged; upasate, worship. Translation: always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me, these great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. Purport: the Mahatma cannot be manufactured by rubber stamping an ordinary man. His symptoms are described here. A Mahatma is always engaged in chanting the glories of the Supreme Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead. He has no other business. He is always engaged in the glorification of the Lord. In other words, he is not an impersonalist. When the question of glorification is there, one has to glorify the Supreme Lord, praising his holy name, his eternal form, his transcendental qualities, and his uncommon pastimes. One has to glorify all these things. Therefore, a Mahatma is attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who is attached to the impersonal feature of the Supreme Lord, the Brahmajyoti, is not described as a Mahatma in the Bhagavad-gītā. He is described in a different way in the next verse. The Mahatma is always engaged in different activities of devotional service as described in the Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing and chanting about Vishnu, not a demigod or human being. That is devotion, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smartanam, and remembering him. Such a Mahatma has firm determination to achieve at the ultimate end the association of the Supreme Lord in any one of the 5 transcendental rasas. To achieve that success, he engages all activities, mental, bodily, and vocal, everything, in the service of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. That is called full Krishna consciousness. In devotional service, there are certain activities which are called determined, such as fasting on certain days, like the 11th day of the moon, Ekadashi, and on the appearance day of the Lord, etc. All these rules and regulations are offered by the great acharyas for those who are actually interested in getting admission into the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the transcendental world. The Mahatmas, great souls, strictly observe all the rules and regulations, and therefore they are sure to achieve the desired result. As described in the second verse of this chapter, this devotional service is not only easy, but it can be performed in a happy mood. One does not need to undergo any severe penance or austerity. He can live this life in devotional service, guided by an expert spiritual master, and in any position, either as a householder or a sannyasi or a brahmachari, in any position and anywhere in the world. He can perform this devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and thus become actually Mahatma, a great soul.
Jnana yagena chapyanye yaganto mam upasate ekatvena pritaktvena bahuda vishvato mukam. Jnana yagena, by cultivation of knowledge, cha also, api certainly, anye others, yajnata, worshipping, mam me, upasate, worship, ekatvena, in oneness, pritaktvena, in duality, bahuda, diversity, vishrata mukam, in the universal form. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. I just got a message saying I don't have very many resources here. Translation: others who are engaged in the cultivation of knowledge worship the Supreme Lord as the one without a second, diverse in many, and in the universal form. Purport: this verse is a summary of the previous verses. The Lord tells Arjuna that those who are purely in Krishna consciousness and do not know anything other than Krishna are called Mahatma. Yet there are other persons who are not exactly in the position of Mahatma, but who worship Krishna also in different ways. Some of them are already described as the distressed, the financially destitute, the inquisitive, and those who are engaged in the cultivation of knowledge. But there are others who are still lower, and these are divided into three. Number one, he who worships himself as one with the Supreme Lord. Two, he who concocts some form of the Supreme Lord and worships that. And three, he who accepts the universal form of the Vishvarup of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and worships that. Out of the above three, the lowest, those who worship themselves as the Supreme Lord, thinking themselves to be monists, are most predominant. Such people think themselves to be the Supreme Lord, and in this mentality, they worship themselves. This is also a type of God worship, for they can understand that they're not the material body, but are actually spirit soul. At least such a sense is prominent. Generally, the impersonalists worship the Supreme Lord in this way. The second class includes the worshippers of the demigods, those who by imagination consider any form to be the form of the Supreme Lord. And the third class includes those who cannot conceive of anything beyond the manifestation of this material universe. They consider the universe to be the supreme organism or entity and worship that. The universe is also a form of the Lord. Actually, the universe is not really the Lord himself, but those who are like less can understand the personality of Godhead are advised to worship the universal form of the Lord. So the Mahatma, it says here, this is kind of important, that they don't know anything other than Krishna. So how do we get to that platform? The whole idea is to take these messages from Krishna and just concentrate on that, knowing that all these things come from Krishna, and just develop a relationship and a service attitude for these messages. And when you have that simultaneous service and surrender to these messages, then you're actually worshiping Krishna with no other ulterior motive. And that should be your sole one-pointed determination, to worship Krishna in that one-pointed way. You don't know anything other than Krishna, and his word is the only thing that you're interested in. You don't want to pay attention to the mind or anybody else's opinion, just, Krishna consciousness. And that comes by chanting, by hearing these messages from the scriptures, and by associating with other devotees who are also representatives of Krishna and hearing from them. The main thing is hearing and reading, worshiping also the deity. Also, there are 9 ways, but all of them include, just one-pointed focus on Krishna only. And, you know, if you're worshiping Krishna and Lord Chaitanya, that is simultaneously worshiping Krishna. It's one pointed, but it's like two rails on a train. Guru and Krishna are like two rails on a train, and they are simultaneous. They're not different from each other in that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the worshipable object, and the servant of Krishna is the person who engages one in the service of that supreme object of worship. So that way we can, you know, focus on that only. Otherwise, it's just our minds are such that they lead us so many different places. So we have to get up in the morning, and Bhaktisiddhanta says we have to beat the mind with the shoe, you know, just to, you know, my dear mind, please focus on Krishna consciousness, please chant, please read here, and don't think of anything else, you know, because if you think that if your mind thinks that there's something greater than what Krishna's message is, then your mind is filled with false ego, and that means we're puffed up. We can't understand that Krishna has a better idea than we do. So we have to be really careful about that and put the mind in line, because the soul is actually, the intelligence and the soul are above the mind. So we can't let the mind be carried away by the whatever it sees. You can go ahead and read the next one.
It's the one you just read there.
This one is text 15, I believe. Wait, no, that's not that one. I thought I switched it. Okay, here it is. Whoop, wait a minute. No, that's not it. 16. Sometimes this is weird. I don't know why it doesn't let me go forward on the page. Okay, go ahead, 16.
Okay. Text 16. Aham kratur aham yajna svadaham aham ashadam mantro aham evajyam aham agnir aham hutam. Synonyms: aham, I; kratu, ritual; aham, I; yajna, sacrifice; svadha, oblation; aham, I; ashadam, healing herb; mantra, transcendental chant; aham, I; eva, certainly; ajyam, melted butter; aham, I; agni, fire; aham, I; utam, offering. Translation: but it is I who am the ritual, I the sacrifice, the offering to the ancestors, the healing herb, the transcendental chant. I am the butter and the fire and the offering. Purport: the sacrifice known as Yotishtoma is also Krishna, and he is also the Mahayagya. The oblations offered to Pitraloka, or the sacrifice performed to please the Pitraloka, considered as a kind of drug in the form of clarified butter, is also Krishna. The mantras chanting in this connection are also Krishna, and many other commodities made with milk products for offering in the sacrifices are also Krishna. The fire is also Krishna, because fire is one of the 5 material elements, and is therefore claimed as the separated energy of Krishna. In other words, the Vedic sacrifices recommended in the Karmakanda division of the Vedas are in total also Krishna. Or in other words, those who are engaged in rendering devotional service unto Krishna are to be understood to have performed all the sacrifices recommended in the Vedas.
Text 17. Pitaham asya jagato matadatta pitamaha vedyam pavitram omkar rik samayajarevacha. Pita, father; aham, I; asya, of this; jagata, of the universe; is mata, mother; datta, supporter; pitamaha, grandfather; vedyam, what is to be known; pavitram, that which purifies; omkar, the syllable om; rik, the Rig Veda; sama, the Sama Veda; yajur, the Yajur Veda; eva, certainly; cha, and. Translation: I am the father of this universe, the mother, the support, and the grandsire. I am the object of knowledge, the purifier, and the syllable om. I am also the Rik, the Sama, and the Yajur Vedas. Purport: the entire cosmic manifestations, moving and non-moving, are manifested by different activities of Krishna's energy. In the material existence, we create different relationships with different living entities who are nothing but Krishna's marginal energy. But under the creation of Prakriti, some of them appear as our father, mother, grandfather, creator, etc. But actually, there are parts and parcels of Krishna. As such, these living entities who appear to be our father, mother, etc., are nothing but Krishna. In this verse, the word datta means creator. Not only are our father and mother parts and parcels of Krishna, but their creator, grandmother, and grandfather are also Krishna. Actually, any living entity being part and parcel of Krishna is Krishna. All the Vedas, therefore, aim only toward Krishna. Whatever you want to know through the Vedas is but a progressive step to understand Krishna. That subject matter which helps us purify our constitutional position is especially Krishna. Similarly, the living entity who is inquisitive to understand all basic Vedic principles is also part and parcel of Krishna, and as such is also Krishna. In all the Vedic mantras, the word Om, called Pranav, is a transcendental sound vibration and is also Krishna. And because in all the hymns of the four Vedas, Samajjaga, Rig, and Atharva, the Pranava or Omkar is very prominent, it is understood to be Krishna. You know, I was just reading the Chaitanya Bhagavat, and Lord Chaitanya, one time he was at someone's house, and he wanted to have a play. And so he dressed up as a gopi, and he enacted a play with some of his devotees for the pleasure of all the Vaishnavas. And he played the part of Mahalakshmi or Rukmini Devi. And nobody could understand that it was him, though. Even his mother didn't realize that it was him. I mean, you know, he must have had a really fantastic outfit. But they were just like, oh, completely ecstatic and swimming in an ocean of love, you know, when that whole play was going on. You know, Adwaita and Haridas were in it, and Nityananda was in it too. But, you know, can you imagine, you know, just having a play put on by the Supreme Personality of Godhead? But he played Mahalakshmi. In other words, he's the mother of all living entities. And so in that way, I think they actually referenced that verse that we just read about the, you know, Krishna being the mother and the father. And in that way, the devotees all, you know, when the play ended at dawn, I think it lasted all night long, and they were cursing the sun as it was going up, and because they didn't want the play to end. And so, you know, Krishna, Lord Chaitanya acted as their mother, and solaced all the devotees, you know, in that role as Mahalakshmi. It's a really ecstatic pastime. You can't really even, you know, Krishna has to reveal these things in order for us to understand it. But, you know, once you get into it, Krishna will reveal all these pastimes one after another. You know, once you read these, like these books like Chaitanya Bhagavats and the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So this is, you can go ahead with 18.
Sure. Text 18. Gatir Bharta Prabhu Sakshi Vivasa Sharanam Suhurt Prabhava Pralaya Stanam Nidhanam Bijam Avyayam. Synonyms: Gati, goal; Bharta, sustainer; Prabhu, Lord; Sakshi, witness; Vivasa, abode; Sharanam, refuge; Suhurt, most intimate friend; Prabhava, creation; Pralaya, dissolution; Stanam, ground; Nidhanam, resting place; Bijam, seed; Avyayam, imperishable. Translation: I am the goal, the sustainer, the master, the witness, the abode, the refuge, and the most dear friend. I am the creation and the annihilation, the basis of everything, the resting place and the eternal seed. Purport: Gati means the destination where we want to go. But the ultimate goal is Krishna, although people do not know it. One who does not know Krishna is misled, and his so-called progressive march is either partial or hallucinatory. There are many who make as their destination different demigods, and by rigid performance of the strict representative respective methods, they reach different planets known as Chandraloka, Suryaloka, Indraloka, Maharloka, etc. But all such lokas or planets being creation of Krishna are simultaneously Krishna and not Krishna. Actually, such planets being the manifestation of Krishna's energy are also Krishna, but actually, they only serve as a step forward for realization of Krishna. To approach the different energies of Krishna is to approach Krishna indirectly. One should directly approach Krishna, for that will save time and energy. For example, if there is a possibility of going to the top of a building by the help of an elevator, why should one go by the staircase, step by step? Everything is resting on Krishna's energy. Therefore, without Krishna's shelter, nothing can exist. Krishna is the supreme ruler because everything belongs to him and everything exists on his energy. Krishna, being situated in everyone's heart, is the supreme witness. The residences, countries, or planets on which we live are also Krishna. Krishna is the ultimate goal of shelter, and as such, one should take shelter of Krishna either for protection or for annihilation of his distressed condition. And whenever we have to take protection, we should know that our protection must be a living force. Thus, Krishna is the supreme living entity. Since Krishna is the source of our generation, or the Supreme Father, no one can be a better friend than Krishna, nor can anyone be a better well-wisher. Krishna is the original source of creation and the ultimate rest after annihilation. Krishna is therefore the eternal cause of all causes.
Sometimes people think that they're the best friend of everybody, and they try to be a charitable person, like that, and try to be the friend of every living entity. But we only have a certain sphere of influence, but Krishna is in everyone's heart. Who can be a better friend? He knows what everybody is thinking all the time. So who can be a better friend than Krishna? So that's part of the formula for peace. If you know Krishna is supreme proprietor, if you know he's a supreme friend, if you know he's the supreme enjoyer, then that's the peace formula. Because then you don't have to compete with anyone else for enjoying. The enjoying mentality is the thing that prevents us from our surrender to Krishna. I just read something in the Chaitanya Bhagavat where Bhaktisiddhanta was saying that the attitude of proudly being intoxicated, like a lot of people just love to go out and get drunk and they brag about it, So that mentality is directly opposed to the service mentality of Krishna. And that really stuck, because, that's the argument against intoxication, because the enjoying mentality, whether it's of any kind of addiction, whether it's intoxication or illicit sex, any kind of bodily identification, without Krishna being the center and the enjoyer, is a directly opposite to what we as human beings are naturally accustomed to. So until we're situated in our constitutional position of satisfying Krishna's senses instead of our own, we are actually living in an opposite world, and we will simply suffer as a result. I thought that was pretty profound. Let me pull up a meme that I made. I got all these drunk guys at a beer fest, one of those what do you call them, Oktoberfest things. You ever heard of those?
Mm-hmm.
Where everybody just sits around and drinks beer. Hold on a second. My computer's really slow.
Hey, can I ask a quick question?
Go ahead.
So, does that mean so you can do all these things and practice Krishna consciousness and go to Kirtan and read the Bhagavad-gītā and do everything that we do, but I can't go out and have friends with my buddy or take my girlfriend out on a date, or do you know what I mean? I just, does that make sense?
You can do whatever you're doing, but the thing is, if you have an enjoying mentality, here's the meme, Bhaktisiddhanta. This is from Madhya Kanda. Can you see that, Mike? Yeah. I don't know if you, but it says the inauspiciousness that people who take intoxicants invite due to proudly identifying themselves as the enjoyers of material objects is diametrically opposite to the mood of service to the worshipable object. In other words, if you're trying to enjoy material objects, whether it's, you're just trying to enjoy a concert, you're trying to satisfy your senses, trying to drink beer or smoke pot or anything that has to do with enjoying the material objects of the senses and satisfying your own senses instead of Krishna's senses, is directly opposite to the mood of service to the worshipable object. I mean, if you put Krishna in the center and simply serve him in whatever you're doing, you can, you have to be temperate in your mood of, recreation and sleep and work. If you're temperate in your mood, in your different activities, then you'll be peaceful. But if you focus too much on enjoying your senses, and especially if you're addicted to different types of intoxication and those kind of things, then the resolute determination of devotional service, in other words, satisfying Krishna, he's the supreme enjoyer, not us. We're not the enjoyer. Krishna is the enjoyer. If we understand that and try to serve Krishna in whatever we do, completely absorbed in Krishna consciousness, then we'll be okay. Otherwise, our senses will drag us away.
Okay, so that means that, like, I was just trying to ask because, I mean, so I can't, like, so what if I wake up and do my puja, I read the Bhagavad-gītā with you guys, I go to kirtan, I literally listen to kirtan all day, I do like everything, think about Krishna all day, do japa in the morning, but like a couple nights a week, I can't, like, going out with my buddies and having fun or being with your girlfriend, does that throw that all away?
No.
You don't throw it away. I mean, you have to do everything with Krishna in the center. If you have Krishna in the center and you're trying to serve him in whatever you're doing, whether it's in sleeping or eating, you offer everything to Krishna, and you try to engage your friends in Krishna consciousness, and you try to engage your girlfriend in Krishna consciousness. Everybody belongs to Krishna. If we think the opposite way, if we are trying to enjoy everything for ourselves, then that is the opposite of Krishna consciousness. I mean, if we are a devotee, you would understand that this is diametrically opposed to Krishna consciousness. So okay, as long as we're thinking, I am the enjoyer, I am the proprietor, I am the friend of all these people, and my goal is to, enjoy with them, and Krishna is not in the picture, then that is not Krishna consciousness, that's material consciousness. But as long as we want to take everyone and everything in Krishna consciousness, making Krishna the center of our lives, and engaging everything and everyone in Krishna consciousness, everything can be engaged in Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada said, you can, the typewriter, the dictaphone, anything can be engaged in Krishna consciousness. And as long as we have that mood of serving Krishna and for his pleasure and not our own, then we'll be okay. But as soon as we think that I have to, like, blow off some steam and enjoy myself, I mean, that is a dangerous proposition, because it's diametrically opposed to who we are. It'll make us forget Krishna. We shouldn't ever forget Krishna. Okay. There's only one rule.
I don't. I mean, I still have fun and everything, but I literally, I push it on people.
Just remember Krishna while you're having fun.
I don't push it on people, but
have Krishna at the center of your activities, and then you'll have more fun. Perfect. If you're actually putting Krishna in the center, you'll have way more fun than somebody who's just trying to, get wasted. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. At least I listen to kirtan when I drink.
Yeah, I mean, okay. It's not a matter
we can move on, sorry.
Strictly, first we have to get a taste, and we have to get fixed up on our philosophy, and then really understand that Krishna is the center of our lives. One time I was in New Vrindavan, and I thought to myself, I was just a new devotee, just like you. I was in a teenage, or, in my mid-20s. How old are you? Are you in your 20s?
Or you remember, I just turned 30.
Just turned 30. Okay, I don't trust you anymore, because we had a thing.
I remember
in the 60s. It said, you don't trust anybody over 30. Yep. So you're no longer young. But when I was in my 20s, I was walking around the farm in New Vrindavan, the rolling hills and the hillbilly country of West Virginia. And I was thinking to myself about the philosophy, and I thought, this is actually completely opposite of what I've been thinking my whole life. In other words, Krishna is the center, not me. And it blew my mind, but it was quite a epiphany. to think that I was
Nice.
just like looking at the opposite side of the mirror, you know. Of course, it took me like decades to actually implement that in my life. But as long as we have a strong philosophical basis to that and try to apply that in everything we do. Krishna says, all that you do, all that you eat, all that you offer, give away, as well as all austerities you perform should be done as an offering unto me. In other words, Krishna is the center, not us.
Perfect.
That's
Thank you
all.
so much for clearing that up for me. Thank you.
No problem. Look forward to doing this again. We've got about maybe 7 minutes left here, or 9 minutes.
Okay.
So you didn't read this one yet, did you, Mike?
Or did I? Yes.
I think we started.
we
and
did-
you
we
had a
did this
question
one.
and
No, we
Benjamin
did
had it.
this one. Yeah.
Yeah, so go ahead.
No, we read this one.
We read this one. Okay. All right. Text 19. Is that's you, right? Or I can't even remember.
Sure, it's fine. Yeah.
Go ahead and read it.
Text 19. Tapami aham varsham nighurnami utsurjami cha amritam chaiva mrityuscha sad asach chaham arjuna. Synonyms. Tapami, give heat. Aham, I. Aham, I. Varsam, rain. Nighurnami, withhold. Utsurjami, send forth. Cha, and. Amritam, immortality. Cha, and. Eva, certainly. Mrityu, death. Cha, and. Sat, being. Asat, non-being. Cha, and. Aham, I. Arjuna, O Arjuna. Translation. O Arjuna, I control heat, the rain, and the drought. I am immortality, and I am also death personified. Both being and non-being are in me. Purport. Krishna, by his different energies, diffuses heat and light through the agency of electricity and the sun. During summer season, it is Krishna who checks rain from falling from the sky, and then, during the rainy season, he gives unceasing torrents of rain. The energy which sustains us by prolonging the duration of our life is Krishna, and Krishna meets us at the end as death. By analyzing all these different energies of Krishna, one can ascertain that for Krishna, there is no distinction between matter and spirit, or, in other words, he is both matter and spirit. In the advanced stage of Krishna consciousness, one does not therefore make such distinctions. He sees Krishna only in everything. Since Krishna is both matter and spirit, the gigantic universal form comprising all material manifestations is also Krishna, and his pastimes in Vrindavan as the two-handed Shyam Sundar playing on a flute are those of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yeah, that kind of blows your mind, you know, when he says both being and non-being are in me. That's kind of like the example of Krishna's inconceivable character. You know, you can't really reconcile those two if you think about it too much, you know, but when you understand that Krishna is everything, both being and non-being, both immortality and death personified, it's quite
I can't even fathom intellectually non-being.
yeah, we cannot until, but we have to accept it. The Chintya means inconceivable.
Yep.
You can't conceive of it with your ordinary brain, but you know, all these inconceivable contradictions are reconciled in Krishna consciousness, and Lord Chaitanya especially can reconcile all these different problems or contradictions even in scripture. You know, sometimes the scripture says one thing and then it's other times he says another, but we can also reconcile all these things by understanding Krishna. If Lord Chaitanya said, if you are interested in logic and the process of logic and discrimination like that, then just apply it to Lord Chaitanya. You'll find that the results are amazing, because Krishna has the ability to reconcile all of these contradictory dualities in the material world. Am I cutting in and out? I think I have to. Might be my okay. Anyway, let me just read this one more, and then we're going to have to end it. Text 20. Tri vidyamam somapa putapapa yajnar itva svargatim pratyante te punyam asadyas surendra lokam ashnati divam devi devam boghan. Trivedya, the knowers of the three Vedas, Mam, unto me, Somapa, drinkers of the Soma juice, Puta, purified, Papa, sins, Yagnai, with sacrifices, Ishva, after worshiping, Svargatim, passage to heaven, Partyayante, pray, Te, they, Punyam, virtue, Asadya, enjoying surrender of Indra, Lokam, the world, Asnanti, enjoy, Divyan, celestial, Divi, in heaven, Deva, Bogan, pleasures of the gods. Translation. Those who study the Vedas and drink the Soma juice, seeking the heavenly planets, worship me indirectly. They take birth on the planet of Indra, where they enjoy godly delights. Purport. The word Trividya refers to the three Vedas, Sama, Jagar, and Rig. A Brahmana who has studied the three Vedas is called Trivedi. One who is very much attached to knowledge derived from these three Vedas is respected in society. Unfortunately, there are many great scholars of the Vedas who do not know the ultimate purport of studying them. Therefore, Krishna herein declares himself to be the ultimate goal for the Trivedis. Actual Trivedis take shelter under the lotus feet of Krishna and engage in pure devotion. Oh, are you hearing something?
Yeah.
Hold on a second. I don't know why that started up.
In the Srimad Bhagavatam 2:1, 3, and 4, Sri Shukadeva Goswami condemns the association of women.
Sorry about that. I don't know why that started up. It's a ghost in the machine. Anyway, let me just continue this until the end here. Devotional service begins with chanting the Hare Krishna mantra and side by side trying to understand Krishna and truth. Unfortunately, those who are simply official students of the Vedas become more interested in offering sacrifices to the different demigods, Indra, Chandra, etc. By such endeavor, the worshippers of different demigods are certainly purified of the contamination of the lower qualities of nature and are thereby elevated to the higher planetary systems or heavenly planets known as Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, etc. Once situated in those higher planetary systems, one can satisfy his senses hundreds of thousands of times better than on this planet. See, Benjamin, that's one thing. You can go to the heavenly planets and enjoy there, but even that is not anything compared. It's compared to like a will-o'-the-wisp compared to Krishna consciousness, which is like an ocean of pure nectar. So we don't even want to go to the heavenly planets to enjoy with our friends. We want the supreme goal, which is love of God or love of Krishna. Anyway, we're going to have to end it there because we're going to run out of time. But thank you very much for attending. And hopefully you all can come back on Friday and maybe Melissa can join us as well. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.